If you have ever felt like your own mind won't let you rest, this might be the reason. You lie awake, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, a single offhand comment someone made that they have long forgotten still loops in your head at midnight. You notice everything: the flicker of the light, the tone underneath someone's words, the flaw in the plan that no one else has spotted yet. People tell you you're clever, like it's a gift. So why does it so often feel like a weight? We've been told one simple story about intelligence, that being smart makes life easier, and a lot of that is true. But there is a quieter side to a sharp mind that rarely gets talked about, because a growing body of research suggests the same brain that solves the hard problems may also be the one that suffers more. Have you ever wondered if the way you think is connected to the way you hurt? To understand this, you need to meet a researcher named Ruth Karpinski. In 2018, Karpinski and her colleagues published a study in the journal Intelligence that landed like a quiet shock. They surveyed the members of American Mensa, the high IQ society. To get in, you need a verified IQ at or above 130, which puts you in roughly the top 2% of the population. The team asked more than 3,500 of these highly intelligent people a simple question: what have you actually been diagnosed with? And the answers did not match the story we tell about gifted minds. The numbers were striking. More than a quarter of them, around 27%, had been formally diagnosed with a mood disorder. About 1 in 5 had an anxiety disorder. Compare that to the national average, which sits closer to 1 in 10 for each. That is roughly double, and in some cases more. The rate of ADHD was nearly twice as high. And here's the part that surprised everyone. It wasn't just their minds. Their bodies were affected too. Environmental allergies ran at 3 times the national rate. So what on earth connects a high IQ to hay fever? Karpinski's team had a theory, and they gave it a name: the hyperbrain, hyperbody theory. The idea is this: the very features that make a brain brilliant, its intensity, its sensitivity, its relentless need to notice and analyze everything, don't switch off when the thinking is done. That same nervous system stays switched on. It stays reactive. A stray noise, a rough tag on your shirt, a slight from a colleague years ago. The hyperreactive mind registers all of it, and it responds as if it matters, now. Think about what that means day to day. Most people can let a small worry go. Your brain, the theory suggests, doesn't just hold onto it. It turns it over. It runs the simulation again and again, searching for the pattern, the threat, the mistake. That skill is exactly what makes you good at difficult problems. But pointed at your own life, at 2 a.m., it becomes rumination. The same engine that builds insight can build dread. Does that sound familiar? And here is where the brain starts to pull the body in with it. When a nervous system is constantly on high alert, it begins behaving as though it is under threat all the time, stuck in a low, chronic state of fight, flight, or freeze. Dr. Nicole Tetreault, one of the study's authors, explained that this ongoing stress response triggers a chain of changes in the immune system, altering mood and functioning. That is the link between a racing mind and a reactive body. The allergies, the poor sleep, the sense of being frayed. A mind that never fully powers down keeps the whole system humming with stress, and that stress leaves marks. It's an idea with deep roots too. Back in the 1960s, the Polish psychiatrist Kazimierz Dabrowski described gifted people as having overexcitabilities, experiencing the world more intensely across the board, the richness and the pain arriving together in the same package. Now, layer one more thing on top of all this: loneliness. If you are in the top 2%, then by definition, 98 out of every 100 people around you think differently to you. Finding someone who truly gets the way your mind works, who wants to follow the same tangents and sit with the same questions, becomes genuinely hard. And it gets harder, not easier, with age. Research on high IQ individuals has found they often report feeling more lonely and describe a growing need to withdraw as they move from adolescence into adulthood. It's a particular kind of isolation. Not being alone in a room, but being unseen in a crowd. Sitting with people you care about, and still feeling like you're speaking a slightly different language. So this all paints a pretty heavy picture. The brilliant, tormented mind. And it would be easy to stop the story right here and let you walk away certain that intelligence is a curse. But that would not be honest. Because the science is genuinely more complicated than that, and you deserve the whole picture, not half of it. Here is the crucial catch. The Mensa members in Karpinski's study were not a random sample of smart people. They were self-selected. They chose to join a high IQ society, and they chose to answer a survey about their own health. That matters because the people most likely to seek out a group built around their intelligence, or to respond to questions about their struggles, might not represent every intelligent person out there. And when researchers look at much larger, population-wide studies, ones that don't rely on a self-selected club, a different picture often emerges. Several large analyses have found that higher intelligence is actually protective against some conditions. It's been linked to lower rates of schizophrenia, lower rates of substance abuse, and a reduced risk of dementia later in life. Some studies have even found that smarter people, on average, may have a lower risk of PTSD and certain anxiety-related outcomes. In other words, for many people, a sharp mind is a shield, not a wound. So which is true? Is intelligence a burden or a buffer? The most honest answer is probably both, for different people. Intelligence isn't a single switch that turns your life good or bad. It's more like an amplifier. It can turn up your capacity to understand, to create, to notice beauty, and solve problems that defeat everyone else. And in some people, wired a certain way, it can also turn up the volume on worry, on sensitivity, on the feeling of being out of step with the world. The gift and the difficulty can live in the same mind, and how loud each one gets depends on far more than a number on a test. Which brings this all the way back to you. If you have ever felt too much, noticed too much, thought too much, this doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It might just mean your mind runs hot. And a mind that runs hot can burn as easily as it can light the way. The intensity that keeps you up at night is often the very same intensity that lets you see what others miss. The goal was never to think less. It's to understand the machine you're running, so you can learn when to let it race and when to let it rest. You lie awake at night, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, and you wonder why your mind won't let you go. Now you know. Your mind isn't broken. It's just built to keep running. And once you understand that, for the first time, you can finally start to steer. If your mind runs hot, this channel is built for the way you think. Every week, we take the things you feel but can't quite explain, and we find the science underneath them. So if you want to understand the machine you're running a little better, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.